Hi everyone, welcome to My English. My name is Hira. As you can see, today we are going to look at an important question type that is called multiple choice questions in IELTS reading section. Multiple choice question means that there will be a question and there will be some set of options. And you need to choose a correct one out of the given options. Now the questions could be of two types. It could be multiple choice with single answer, and it could also be the case of multiple choice with multiple answers. So there may be 6 options and you'll have to choose or 3 out of 7 options given to you. So it is important that you read the question properly. Basically, you are tested to comprehend the main idea contained that is there in the content, and after that you search for the specific information. And while doing this, more than 2 or 3 options might seem to be the correct answer, which can make your reading, your life at that time a bit difficult. But you must read the text in detail. So that is where the reading in detail comes into picture to find that specific information in order to find the right answer. Now in this video, we will be looking at some common problems that you must avoid. We will discuss some points to remember while solving the multiple choice questions. Then we'll take a look at the strategies, how to go about solving a multiple choice question, and finally we will take one example, one exercise based on multiple choice question. Obviously it will be based on any IELTS test. So let's get started with first the common problems. The first and the foremost problem that you come across is you read the text before the question. So please never do that reading. That's called reading blindly. You just waste your 2-3 minutes in doing that. So this blind reading, you don't know what you're looking for, and it wastes a lot of time because you repeat the process when you go back to the question that you're looking for and then read the text again. Wasting time on first reading is strictly to be avoided. The second thing is, yes, there could be confusion. So here is something that you'll be tricked by the examiner. So there will be distractors, and it is quite a common trick to confuse the test takers, and it is done by putting a lot of keywords from the question options in the parts of the text. And only because a sentence has a lot of matching keywords doesn't mean that it has the correct answer. So when you locate the correct section in the reading text, there will appear to be 2 or 3, prospective correct answers, but you need to look at the content of the whole sentence and see for yourself if there are any qualifying words like always, sometimes, all, most, etc. Don't fall prey to the distractors, the keywords matching strategy. Never do that. Another problem that a lot of test takers come across is they are not being careful, which is not reading the text carefully. That means they have read so many distractors, and this would make you miss out on the correct answers. So you must read the text carefully, else you might end up choosing the incorrect answer. So take some time to really understand the meaning of each sentence. And here we are not really looking at understanding of each and every word. What we are looking at is the whole sentence in totality. So it is important that you read the whole sentence, because the sentence might look correct in the first half, but maybe the second half it may be entirely different. So qualifying words, if there is a however, if there is an although, then you need to check for that, right? Such words change the meaning of the whole sentence. And test makers are aware that you want to find out your answers as soon as possible, so they will trick you in that. Points to remember are the strategies to master multiple choice questions. The first thing is you read the questions carefully, find out what keywords are there. And while reading, try to eliminate the wrong answers. So most of the time you will be able to eliminate 2 of the 4 answers, which kind of leaves you with 2 choices. Now you should think about the difference in meaning between the 2 choices left, and this will help you get the correct answer. If you don't really know the answer, just guess the answer, because it's not wise to spend too much time on one question. And another thing is, you don't even need to know about that topic. It's okay if you don't know, because it is just a reading test, not the GK test or general knowledge test, right? So don't panic if you don't know anything about the topic. Before you actually decide your answer, always go back and carefully read the question and then make your final decision about choosing the option. So that's what I mean by selecting the option carefully. Yes, keywords are important, but they should not be blindly matched. Try to underline the keywords in the question and try to match the keywords meaning in the text. Now, which steps you should be following to master your multiple choice questions? The first thing is you read the question carefully. The second thing is you skim the text to get to the general idea of the content or the text. Then you underline or identify any keywords in the question and think about the synonyms that might appear in the text. So what you're doing is you basically paraphrasing. Then read the choices, underline the keywords, think about the difference in the meaning, what we just discussed, and then try and predict the answer. So even if you're not able to predict the answer, you're eliminating the wrong choices, eliminating the choices which are definitely a no-no. Then you'd read the text and using those keywords and synonyms, you first of all locate the part containing the answer and read that part of the text very carefully, and also at the back of your head keep thinking about the difference in the meanings and think about not only which options are correct but how other options are wrong. So you cancel the option that you think are wrong, then you go back to the question, read the choices, and finally mark your final choice. So that should be the process that you should adopt while solving the multiple choice questions. Let us solve a multiple choice question. So for today's problem, I have selected Cambridge IELTS 14 General Book and I've chosen test number 3 for the same, and the question that I'm going to look at is what I'm going to show you now. Let's first take a look at the questions. So these are the questions in front of us. Now let's identify the keywords. So the first question is, what is the main problem faced by cattle farmers in Ethiopia according to Professor Wood? So it's a good idea that you choose proper nouns as your keywords because you'll definitely be able to find them. If it is a repetitive thing, then you also select some common nouns as well, like main problem, cattle farmers, etc. So main problem faced by cattle farmers in Ethiopia according to Professor Wood. First, TB is being transmitted from people to cattle. New breeds of cattle have led to an increase in TB. Traditional breeds of cattle are being affected by TB. TB has spread into places where it was previously unknown. The first option, which is TB is transmitted from people to cattle, it is not true at all, because this is no possibility that TB can be transmitted from people to cattle, right? Secondly, TB has spread into places where it was previously unknown. Traditional breeds of cattle are being affected by TB. New breeds of cattle have led to an increase in TB. So what I'm able to find is I cannot eliminate any more answer. But let's take a look at the next question. When discussing the cultivation of cabbages in Ghana, cabbages is one of the keywords. Ghana is another keyword. The writer says that this crop was introduced outside Africa, not eaten much by local people, not grown correctly by many farmers, requires the use of fertilizers and special equipment. This is number 30. Penning believed that new diseases destroying cabbages was. So new diseases and destroying cabbages caused by overuse of pesticides, also affecting locally grown vegetables, linked to insect attacks on these vegetables, connected with the development of new insect breeds. Okay, so we have Fenning's name appearing in the next question as well. Let's take a look at this one. Fenning first suspected. Okay, suspected can be your keyword. Then virus, cabbage disease was caused by a virus because evidence of viral disease could be seen on cabbage leaves. Pink and green aphids did not commonly attack cabbages. Viral disease affecting vegetables has occurred elsewhere in Africa. Aphids would not have caused so much damage to the crops. Okay. When doing further research in Cambridge, Fenning and Carr discovered that virus was unfamiliar to them. Two different viruses were present. Aphids' DNA was more complex than expected. One aphid was more harmful than the other. So as you see, The questions as well as the multiple choices, the options are all long sentences. So we have to read very carefully and understand what are we looking at. In a way, we have got some idea of what the passage is about, right? So let's go to the passage now. It's from section 3. This is the longest passage. So from 28 to 40, about 12 questions are based on this passage only. 3 programs are investigating ways of improving agricultural productivity in Africa. The question is, what is the main problem faced by farmers in Ethiopia according to Professor Wood? Skim through the passage. And how to skim the overall paragraph is, you read the first paragraph, you also read each paragraph's first line and then the last paragraph. That's how you skim it. So let's skim the passage. So pause the video and read it carefully. Professor James Wood from the University of Cambridge explains that new breeds that are being introduced are more vulnerable to bovine TB. Bovine is nothing but cattle. The correct answer is B. New breeds of cattle have led to an increase in TB. When discussing cultivation of cabbages in Ghana, the writer says that this crop, introduced from outside Africa, not eaten much, not grown correctly, requires the use of fertilizer. Okay. Cabbages are not indigenous to Africa but have become a major category. So it doesn't say it not eaten much, not grown correctly or requires the use. It definitely says it was introduced from outside Africa in the sense that it is not indigenous. Not indigenous means it was introduced from somewhere else. Cabbages are not indigenous to Africa. That means A is the correct answer. Fenning believed that the new disease destroying cabbages was caused by overuse of pesticides, affecting other locally grown vegetables, linked to insect attacks, connected with the development of new insect breeds. Okay, overuse, pesticides, locally grown vegetables, other insect attacks, development of new insect breeds. Loss of their crops, I can see that damages they may cause. See, it could be here only. Fenning works closely with smallholder farmers on pest control strategies. New disease was attacking their crops. So new disease is definitely, it seemed to be a sort of massive infestation of pink and green aphids. And from insects interact with many different amphibians. It is related to that insects option. Yes, insect attacks on this. So C is the correct answer for 30th. Now let's come to 31st. Fenning first suspected that cabbage disease was caused by a virus. Okay. Evidence of viral disease could be seen on cabbage leaves. Okay. Pink and green aphids did not commonly attack cabbages. Viral diseases affecting vegetables had occurred elsewhere in Africa. Aphids would not have caused so much damage to the crops. Okay. He is applying his own notion that he's saying that I am familiar with how the pink and green aphids cause so much of damage. But farmers were typically seeing the loss of their crops, and he realized that the devastation couldn't be just caused by sap-sucking insects. Despite no previous reports of viral diseases affecting cabbage crops in Ghana, the symptoms suggested a viral pathogen. He said aphids are a common carrier of a plant-infecting virus. They had some viruses in them, aphids had. The usual suspects are turnip mosaic virus and cauliflower, which affects cabbages. It was definitely not elsewhere. So C is definitely not the answer. A is definitely not the answer. B is also not the answer because they did not commonly attack cabbages, and we are thus left with option D. So for 31st it should be D, right? So sometimes if you're not able to find the answer, you still have to eliminate, and if you're sure that A, B, C can never be the answer, then it's in most probability D is going to be the answer. Let's come to 32nd, and that is, when doing further research in Cambridge, Fenning and Carr discovered that the virus was unfamiliar to them. Okay, 2 different viruses were present. Okay, further research, we have to see further research. Aphid's DNA was more complex than expected. One aphid was more harmful than the other. We have to also see what's further research, right? We found that there were two different species. So we can't say that this was a part of the further research or not. Two different species, definitely they are mentioning, but the question says further research, right? So we have to take care of the further research option as well. Another researcher, no. What's more? What's more can be further research. The virus was not what they expected, and the work is now ongoing to identify the culprit. Okay, I think I've read it somewhere. Yes. So, when doing further research, or what's more, the virus was unfamiliar to them. So, the correct option is A. 28 we marked it as B. 29th it is indigenous. It was not indigenous, so it was A. New disease destroying cabbages was linked to insect attacks on these vegetables. 31st, Penning-First system cabbage disease was caused by a virus because aphids would not have caused so much damage. 32 is when doing further research in Cambridge, the virus was unfamiliar to them. Yes, it takes a lot of your time, but then that's how it has to be done. So please be very sure that you are marking it correctly and you're also spending adequate time in solving these questions. So that's all for today. I'll see you with the next video very soon. Till then, take care and God bless.